is Joe Biden.
I think the two-party system is good for the South and good for the Negro.
Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids. If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black, they're going to put you all back in chains.
You cannot go to a 7-Eleven or a Dunkin' Donuts unless you have a slight Indian accent.
Biden sought and received support from Mississippi Senator James Eastland, the Democratic chairman of the Judiciary Committee, and a leading symbol of Southern resistance to desegregation. He frequently spoke of blacks as, quote, an inferior race.
Biden spoke highly of KKK member Senator Byrd at his funeral.
If there's ever a senator who, in fact, reflected his state, it was Robert C. Byrd.
He called black kids roaches and said he didn't want his kids growing up in a racial jungle.
That racist dog, what I heard the first time in 1972 when I was doing an intern thing at a D.C. think tank, and he said Negro children are like roaches. He said Negroes were animals and they turned the streets into jungles. And he and Senator Eastland had a plan where they could put all of these Negro animals in zoos. Now, we talk about the 94 crime bill, that wasn't shit. The 91 was bad.
Biden was a leading architect of today's criminal justice system, which contributed to mass incarceration and the police misconduct that protesters are fighting back against today.
I'm the guy that wrote the bill requiring federal judges to keep people in jail 100% of the time for which they're sentenced. Increase the penalties. Increase them. I would put the son of a gun in jail. Put them to death.
He wanted to remove judicial discretion for those who, quote, don't meet the middle-class criteria of susceptibility to rehabilitation.
They are beyond the pale, many of those people. They literally have not been socialized. They are in jail. Away from my mother, your husband, our family.
He lied about his education, and he bragged he wrote the Patriot Act.
And you can ask the Attorney General this, because I got a call when he introduced the Patriot Act. He said, Joe, I'm introducing the act basically as you wrote it.
In 2005, Biden made it completely impossible to discharge student loan debt, and when you go to collect Social Security, up to 15% can also be withheld by the Treasury. Which brings us to his behavior around kids.
Do you remember that? By the way, he gave me permission to touch him.
Here he is talking about a 9-year-old girl.
Love those barrettes in her hair, man. I tell you what, look at her. She looks like she's 19 years old, sitting there with her, like a little lady in her legs crossed.
It's even a joke on SNL.
4 women have come forward claiming that Joe Biden touched them in ways that made them uncomfortable. And yeah, I can see that.
According to MSN, his daughter Ashley wrote in her diary, I remember having sex with friends at a young age, showers with my dad probably not appropriate. Biden pressured the president of Ukraine to fire the prosecutor investigating Burisma, the company his son Hunter worked for.
You're not getting the billion. I'm going to be leaving here, and I think it was, 6 hours? I looked, I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Oh, son of a bitch. Got fired.
This is the guy paid $83,000 a month, but apparently his salary was cut in half 2 months after Joe left office, which makes one wonder, what was Burisma paying for? We now have a voicemail that indicates Joe Biden knew of Hunter's dealings with China, and just released, Hunter allegedly had Joe Biden's name stored in his phone as Pedo Peter, which makes sense. This is the man who got 81 million votes.